Welcome to Seemingly Nobodies. I'm your host, Rebekah Ketchum. Woo! This is not easy, y'all. I'm having some technical issues left and right, but we shall persist. We shall. I'm starting to understand a little more why people do intros. I'm not a big fan of a lengthy intro. I find it to be a bit time wasting, especially when people are just surmising episodes in totality before you listen to them. I've been listening to some that are some podcasts that are like 10-minute long intros. Time's a commodity, baby. Let's get to the point. But I do have some side notes I just want to mention. I understand that this mic is a little ridiculous. I need a mic stand. We're doing the best we can over here. The lighting's not perfect. Yeah, I'm putting it out there. I'm doing my best. One thing I'm really liking is that I can't see myself. I don't have a viewfinder. And I think that that's creating this very relaxed energy where I'm not staring at myself the whole time. Like, you know how people do? Or you're on a FaceTime. We all do it. You're on a FaceTime, you're on a Zoom, and you're like, yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I like this because it's just raw, baby. I'm just spitting. But let's get into it. We're going to talk about relationships today. Juicy. Who doesn't like to talk about relationships? It's a hot topic. It's fun. Why are we still saying boyfriend? Boyfriend. Boyfriend. Girlfriend. She's my girlfriend. He's my boyfriend. I'm 31. We don't have a better term for this. We don't. It's strange. Why have we not progressed in the English language? You could say partner. I'm going to assume you could possibly be gay if you say partner, though. You know what I mean? It has a gay connotation. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We love all flavors over here, okay? I will preface this episode by saying that this will be heterosexual focused. I'm in a heteronormative relationship. So that's my experience. That's how I identify. So that's where I'm coming from, okay? But this could possibly be applicable to other scenarios. And no discrimination, okay? Partner. It just sounds a little gay, boyfriend. I speak a little Spanish. Novio y novia. Those are beautiful words. That would be nice. Novio, novia. I like that. That's a different language. It's Spanish. It doesn't apply to us. Fiancé. That's a good one. I can see why people hang out in the engagement. Fiancé. My fiancé. It's a little pretentious, but like, okay. Husband. Whoa. Like, you got it like that. Husband. That's like really adult. My husband. I'm not there yet, so I don't know. But wow, when someone spits out that title, you're like, okay, you've got it figured out. They're like flashing the ring, like, husband, I need to call my husband. Yeah, that's like next level. We're not there yet. So I'm just still in the boyfriend. My boyfriend. Ugh, it really irks me. I don't know. So I'm going to scooch back because we're getting to know each other. I'm just giving you some context as to where I come from, right? I'm going to scooch back. I wasn't a very romantic person in my teens and in my early adulthood. I just wasn't very romanticized. I wasn't focused on love. I had all my friends were freaking out over heartbreak and the rigmarole of love, and I just couldn't relate. I wasn't there. I don't know what that was about. I was very self-determined, very self-focused. I found it to be a waste of time to worry about. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a great thing, because I did ultimately feel a little stunted in my love piece of my pie. I felt a little stunted. But it was nice to be, I think, especially as a teen, to not really be concerned too much with that. I did have a boyfriend when I was a teenager, someone I was in theater with, and we ended up dating, and it was very amicable. It was cute. It was like friendly. It was sweet. It was comfortable. Nice way to lose my virginity. Aw. You know. And then I had some relationships in my 20s, but I was guarded. I had my guard up. I didn't care that much. I never got very involved. I was very focused on my own self-development. And it was nice. I had a lovely boyfriend in my early 20s. Shout out. Like, he was a great guy. But I wanted to be free. I wanted to be free. I wanted to experience different things and see what was out there. And maybe I subconsciously knew that committing to someone is such a huge responsibility, right? And I learned a lot in my relationships, but I was mostly single. And I didn't get my heart broken until I was 26. 26, I got my heart shattered up. And wow, how humbling. All of those love songs and woes that everyone I witnessed gone through, they all started to make sense. That wasn't fun. Yeah, I get it. It's not easy. When you open your heart and you really put it out there and it gets broken. I've said before, I think it can be a little bit harder than death in some ways because death is concrete. But heartbreak, that person's still walking around. They're still out there. Yikes. Not easy. It's a choice. It's not easy. So I finally have compassion for that. So one great thing about being single is that you have control. You have all the control over your own whereabouts, over your food, over little things. And I enjoyed it. I had a hard time with it. At a certain point, I started to have a hard time with it. Post-heartbreak and getting into my late 20s as a female, we start to feel the pressure. Where's your boyfriend? Where's your boyfriend? I was like, starting to get a little insecure, a little worried. I was dating in Miami. Yikes. I have stories, okay? I had I kissed a few frogs, we'll say. There's a lot of losers out there. Sorry, y'all. But there are still good men. There's a few. And, but it was hard to keep that faith at a certain point. I was like, dang, is everybody gotta burn me down like this? Ghost, all this stuff that's going on in our culture, the hookup culture. It's like, ugh, it's not good for your psyche at a certain point. And some people really thrive in that. And maybe you have phases where you thrive in that. But it's not easy. Let's be real. It's not easy. And it got to a point where I was really ready to have a relationship. And I was actually idealizing what I thought a relationship could do for me. I won't be sad anymore. I'll have support. I'll, have someone. And some of that is true. I am now finally in a good relationship. Thank the Lord. There's someone in my life now, Joshua, who I love. And, he's a great guy. But we're almost 3 years in. And guess what? It didn't fix me, cure me. I'm still me. And in fact, some things are harder because now what single Becky could go through when she was depressed or anxious, she could hide away. Like the only person who saw was my dog. Now I have someone witnessing me go through hard things. And we've been through it already. I went through a really hard period of time, losing a lot of my hair after COVID. That was devastating for me and not sexy. Like, I didn't feel hot. That was 1 year into our relationship. And then as soon as my hair stopped falling out, my dad died. I felt bad for Josh having to deal with a grieving partner. That's not easy. And he was so gracious and sweet and patient, which is wonderful. But it was also hard because he's not like a little flower. He's not like super feminine, or he's like he'll say it how it is. Get up. It's time to get better. And that's a hard truth to hear sometimes when you're really down in the dumps, but it's vulnerable. It's very vulnerable to have someone witness you through these things. That was a hard lesson for me, and still is uncomfortable sometimes. Sometimes I just want to hide. And I guess I got comfortable in that in my singleness, which, pros and cons to everything. Yeah, you get out of that honeymoon phase and you're just like, oh my God, this is just another person, and you still see them, and, hopefully you still see them in this light, but we're just people, man. And we really all have to be responsible still for our own joy and our own struggles. Well, so what are we after, right? What are we after in these relationships that we pursue? I mean, most of us are still in like the monogamy game. I know that there's like a bigger landscape now with polyamory and open relationships and all different types of interactions people want to have, right? But a large majority of us are still pursuing monogamy, long-term monogamy, marriage, whatever it is. Partnership. A boyfriend. A long-term boyfriend. Is monogamy practical? It makes sense when you think about a family unit, mom, dad, two people. Makes sense, but why doesn't it work a lot of the time? I guess there's a lot of reasons. I don't know. Maybe it helps to be a little bit relaxed about it and not so. I feel like some people really just wind up their identities in their relationships, and I get it. I can see how that is hard. It's hard to extrapolate your individualism in a relationship. So I'm going to pull in some wisdom from my beautiful, lovely, love guru mother, Sarah Preston. She is a genius when it comes to love. I don't know, I attribute a lot of my capabilities with love to her. And she has ground to stand on in experience. She and my dad were together for 20-ish years. I should probably know the exact time, but they were together for 20-ish years. They divorced when I was in my late teens. And then my mom got with another man, and they were together for 10 years, and he unfortunately passed away. But she's had good experience in love, and she and my dad were, it was tough when they were divorcing, but they homied it out, and they were close, friendly, and, co-parenting still, even in my adulthood after. It was nice, amicable, nice. So I called her one day, and I was like, Mom, what do you think about divorce? And my mom has the cutest voice in the world. She was like, well, honey, sometimes people get together and they stay together for the rest of their lives, and that's great. And then sometimes people get together and they break up, and that's okay too. And she just has this way about taking this simplicity, this simplistic approach to things that's so lovely and lighthearted, and that's just, it's so straightforward, but just it's, I don't know, just not the drama, the agony that people experience, not to minimize that, but maybe it's okay too if it doesn't work out. And maybe that notion while you're in a relationship makes your relationship stronger because you're not so dependent on it, So shout out Sarah. We will definitely have her on. She is a queen of my life. And I will also say that my father, Jim Ketchum, God rest his soul, he taught me how valuable and sacred masculinity is. And I have a respect for men because of my dad that is invaluable. And Josh has even said that to me, that he thinks that the reason that our relationship has worked out so well thus far is because I had such a good example of manhood. And my dad was not a money man. He didn't make a lot of money. That wasn't it. It wasn't like the provider per se. It was the protector. It was the wisdom. It was the honesty, the nurturing that a man can provide. And I have other excellent men in my life, and I'm very grateful for that, because I can see how women would become jaded or feel scathed by men because they're so different than us, and it can be very difficult. And that's a whole rabbit hole. I love that. I love the concepts of masculine and femininity and how they play into the way that we act and where to stand with that. There's a lot on that in the spiritual community. My dog is whining. Oh my gosh. If I have one more distraction today trying to do this, she's just going to have to wait. Alma, calm down. So I'm going to touch on one more thing because I don't want this to be too long-winded for y'all. Time is a commodity. Finances. I don't think there's enough information about relationships and finances. Is that not the number one reason for divorce, or one of the main reasons for divorce? It's very hard to navigate finances with someone. I read in this book by the psychiatrist Moody Bitches. There's some subtitle to it. It was an excellent book about female psychology. I read in this book that an ideal household, generally speaking, for a heterosexual relationship is 60-40. 60% of the income comes from the man, while he does 40% of the household work, and 40% of the income comes from the woman, while she does 60% of the housework. That sounds so contrite, but do you feel me? I think there's something there. There's something there to that. But there needs to be more conversation around how couples navigate their finances to get together, because it's confusing. And a relationship is like a business, right? And it's the biggest decision that you'll ever make in your life. It determines everything, especially if you have children, right? So I'll bring on Josh soon, and he's one of the reasons I wanted to start this, because he has a wonderful voice, and it's so nice. One of my biggest attributes that I was looking for in a person was a good conversationalist, because a romantic relationship is just based on conversations and sex, right? So, yeah, the chemistry part is easy to figure out. The conversation is, it's so important. So I'm excited to bring him on. And yeah, why are we still saying boyfriend? I'm excited to expand on this. There's so many little avenues to go down. And I would love to hear different perspectives and different takes on things. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.